Good evening. So today we will see the interesting topic in web development. So it's like HTML forms and how we get hold of the data when user enters any data in the HTML forms and how it is sent to backend. So uh, the get method and post method we already seen in previous sections of our Python classes. So where we have used request module to do the get and post operations. So here we will be using post. Uh, how we will be using post in the Flask that we will see today. And first of all, we will see what are exactly HTML. So HTML is also nothing but whenever a user want to log in, the classic example is Gmail login. So Gmail login, it asks for username and password. The same thing. It's one of the HTML form, a classic example. So it has a section of web pages that allows user to enter information, and that information will be passed to the backend, and all the mechanism will happen in the backend. So when a user enter any data on the web page, how uh, the script or the backend uh, web how it handles how it get data from front end to backend and how it processes the data that we will be seeing. Generally, as of now, if you see here, it is a simple in fields like name, the input field, and it's a label, name label. And if you see there is a placeholders where inside the text boxes we can see placeholders name, password, and there is a button. So generally there will be different types of how elements in the forms also, but the form will start with the form tag, start and end of the tag, and there will be maximum of the time it will be input and one button for submit. So if it is a name, label name, input type ID, name ID. So generally this is we are seeing a name, and so there is a attribute you can say which is called again name. So even you can give placeholder also here. So for email there is a type of email, and for the submit button there is submit button. So when we give type of called email, it basically validates if it is a general basic validations at the rate, whether it is having at the rate or not. The final submit button is like submit button. When we click on that, it creates a normal submit button. So here type HTML password checkbox radio submit buttons. So these are the common things. So as of now, we will be checking our one of the simplest form. We create one of the simplest form and one of the basic thing. Uh, as of now, just I'm commenting this out. By default, the general. So let me so I have created two folders like HTML form demo, and there is a main.py file in this folder. It is a demo. So there is index.html. Just copying this file. So now I just want to change everything in this. So as of now, normal by default there will be name. We are using just what only text boxes we are keeping. Yeah. So the label is text. The input type is text, and placeholder will be name, password, and text. And okay. So here, if you see, we have just used FLASK and under template. I will forget this for now. So we are creating app, and then we are defining a home root, and then we have defined what is the home. So it is just we are returning a template index.html. Now when we run this, string up 5000. So now if I just I can give something. Okay, just I'm repeating. So generally by default forms are nothing but where the classic example is the Gmail login form where we have multiple input types. So there can be of different types like a text box, email, a password, and depending on what are the type we give, it will automatically apply the rules. So for example, if we give email, uh, it will create an input field and validates a format whether the email is having at the rate or not, something like that. It will validate. Even password, when we give type is equal to password, it will generally hides the characters like when our user enters in the password field, it hides the characters. Passwords. So generally, forms are used for different purposes. So for example, if you someone in the blog where we have the contact form, like contact HTML, and then there we can see a form where users submit their details, and uh, the owner of the blog can get all the details to their email. So that we will see next. So as of now, we are creating a simple form using simple using only text boxes. So yeah, this is everything normal like title. So label. So in the body, we are creating a form. So generally, it will be form using form text. Inside that forms, there will be label and input type is full text. Label password. So we are simple rendering the template index.html. We are not doing anything else. So now we do that. It is just here. So we're not just like because this is only text box. It won't mask the characters. So when I just click OK, that thing is happening, right? So now we need to get hold of how to hold of this data when our users click OK. How user get hold of the data and process it in the back. So that is how elementary. So for that here we have two things like in HTML we can give action and post like methods. So in if you check here, so generally in the form, for example, action equal to action page dot and method is get method. So HTML method attribute. So where we can give the methods like post, get, put. So those are like those are the URL request methods we already used. Few of them like in get and so here we will be using post method. So where we will be now we click on the OK button, it will transfer the data to backend. So again the action is like the page URL, like which page when our user where to send the form data and form is submitted. Yeah, whenever we click on the submit button, so yeah, where we have to send that our data. So here what they are saying, in order to send data we have to change the state fields. So if you can see is to figure out how to make our HTML for submit a post request and request to the path login. So the same thing here what we can do is in the index.html in the form opening tag actually give and not using PHP here, just login will be using post smaller tabs. Let me check. Just I'm saying index.html, but even when we change also, so we need to catch the data in our server, like in the Flash server what we are running, because when we if I change and if I just give my data, so it is not doing anything. Even if I just go back here, it is not doing anything. So we are not capturing the data, it is just disappearing. So for that we need to do the post request. So for that we need to give a name attribute so that we are getting hold of the data of the box field, password field, whatever the field we have. So how we will be using a name attribute. So I mean, username, password. So now we have got hold of part of the data entered. It will be stored in this attributes, username and password attributes. Now, so we need to send the data to our server, Flash servers. So now what we want to do, we creating again creating our main.py file, and we can something like this. We can like create. We have given already login. The action form is login and method equal to posts. So methods. So just we will be seeing what happens when we return a string. So again, if I can just go back here. selecting this one. So here the action and the method is post method. So defining, and we are returning only string. So as of now we are returning when our submit button is then so it will redirect to login page, login form you can say, and then it will get the post method. But as of now we are not using any post method as of now. We are just returning some string, any string we are returning. So what happens we will see. So again I just go back and I refresh. So, so we click OK. So now if you see here, so now it is working perfectly fine. It redirect to login form, and then it is giving whatever we are returning in the this data, like whatever the string we are returning, it is we are returning. So the next part is we need to get hold of whatever say whatever the data the user is entering in that import export, we need to get hold. So here one thing to remember is we can put as many methods as required. So we're going to say all the requests method get what. For example, there is a method also. So most of the time we use get and post methods only. So we can give it a list get and post. So now how to get hold of that? So generally there will be a request object, so don't confuse with request module. So we have an object in the Flask where it will hold up the data like from the name attribute, like whatever the name attribute, whatever variable we are given, we will be accessing using this request object, Flask object. So now we want to figure it out how we can do that. So to get the data and to pass that again to here if you see again the same. So request dot method. So it is like sorry, request dot copied. Yeah. So now if you see again here the current so from form we are getting username. So what are the name attribute we defined for the input field? We are getting that password. We are getting that. So how we are getting using the request module. Like the next part is like how we will carry. So we have hint also. So yeah, we can go through this, but it's too complicated. Instead of that, it's very easy. So now if I just want name, what I'm doing, I'm getting importing request object. So we are importing request method. I can say FLASK object. So on from request.form. So because we are now it is a form, we are getting hold of the username attribute where it will hold the data. Just I'm commenting this one. So here the return. So we are using F3. So we are just what are the H1 name, what are the user enters the name, password, and what are the user enters the password. So because both are text fields that we are displaying in the H1 itself. So again go back. So here the name attributes identify the input. So we have the gem. So the main thing is like we have to check the FLASK documentation very carefully. So the main thing is like we have to define the name attribute. Whatever the data we need to hold, we need to define the HTML, the name attribute for the text, all the input fields remain the same. So then only we can get hold the data whether whatever the user and just here this in so just again come back. So now sure test. So now you should see here it's a simple HTML page where it is having only H1 heading. So I just open DevTools. So it is having only HTML head and body. In body there is only H1 because we are writing only H1. So now we got hold of all the data whatever in the form whatever the data user is entering. We got the hold of both the input field data and we are just renaming. So it's like because how it is doing, it is actually going to login form where we defined in HTML login and then we define it's a post method. And here also we are defining methods post. So this is already a FLASK defined. I mean, in the FLASK documentation, we can directly see the methods. Uh, already static methods. And so the FLASK documentation is again on our trends market. So now, so this is final. Now, as of now, we have given again some action we have given, but if you want to dynamically generate, or if you are just deploying this app into somewhere in our server, we are into a cloud server. So generally, if you define this as action as login, it might not go properly. So the best way to is like we can get a dynamically generated URL. So if I do the same thing here, so in the backend code no one touches, but HTML only. So we need to change our modifications. So here we already found. So receive data is the method. So just main.py file receive data method. So for this method, what is the URL? So it automatically fetches whatever we have given here, the routing mechanism. So even if I just save this, and again I just want to go back. So now so it is working perfectly. So automatically it is fetching the data. So now the name is Rakesh, password is hello. So this is about forms. We can and how we can get the data using post methods in this. So how we will look at this. How we get the hold of the data whenever it enters data in the HTML form, and how we can get the data in the backend, and how we can process the data. So using in the FLASK. Now generally the email and password. So uh, once we get email and password, that will be connected to database to authenticate in generally in Gmail or any other email services. So this is how like a mechanism of sending data from front end to back end in FLASK. Yeah. Tomorrow we will see in the blog the contact form. How as of now we haven't like in the blog what are we yesterday we haven't seen contact form working. So tomorrow we will be seeing how to enable the contact form, and once user enters all the details and click on the send button, we should receive an email with all the so, so that tomorrow we will see how we will be enabling that. That's for today. Thank you.